Right. We're diving into the alien universe today.
Okay.
You've given us a ton of alien Romulus reviews and info.
Yeah.
This isn't just another bug hunt for you.
Nope.
You want to know if Romulus is worthy of the alien legacy?
I do.
And we are on the case?
You've come to the right place.
Um,
The buzz around this film is
Yeah.
pretty electric.
Really?
A 7.3 on IMDb and a 64 on Metacritic.
Wow.
That's not just fan hype.
Right.
Critics are engaged, too.
Exactly. It's not just another forgettable sequel.
Right.
And you know what really jumped out at me?
What's that?
The praise for the film's connection to the original Alien.
Yeah.
Practical effects, a
Wow.
gritty,
Uh-huh.
lived-in aesthetic.
Okay.
Several reviewers even used the word claustrophobic,
Oh, wow.
which I love.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
they took the best of that 1979 aesthetic, that sense of being trapped with something unknown and terrifying,
Right.
and amplified it. There's this one review that mentions the use of temperature and gravity,
Okay.
saying it adds a whole new dimension to the scares.
Okay, let's unpack that.
Sure.
What do they mean by temperature and gravity?
Like,
It sounds almost abstract,
yeah.
but knowing this franchise, it's probably anything but.
So picture this. You're being hunted,
Okay.
not just by a xenomorph,
Right?
but by the environment itself.
Oh, of course.
Imagine a scene where the temperature plummets,
Okay.
their breath fogs,
Yeah.
and the xenomorph's advantage just increased tenfold.
Oh, wow.
Or a gravity shift that sends you tumbling while this creature clings to the walls, stalking you.
Oh, wow. I get it now.
Yeah.
Talk about adding another layer of intensity.
Right.
You're fighting to survive on multiple levels,
Very
not
much.
just about outsmarting a creature,
Yeah, right.
but also battling the environment.
Yes.
Now, you mentioned this idea of slow burn start,
Yeah.
which honestly makes me a little nervous.
Oh, okay.
You know, I love a good thrill ride.
Yeah, right. And that's what's so interesting about Romulus.
Sorry.
The pacing seems to be a point of contention.
Really?
Yeah, some reviewers found it a slow burn to a fault,
Okay.
while others appreciated the deliberate buildup.
Interesting.
What we see consistently praised, though, is that once the action kicks in,
Yeah.
it is relentless.
Okay, so maybe it's less aliens and more like Alien, where the tension is a slow, creeping dread.
Could be.
Speaking of tension,
Yeah.
Cailee Spaeny,
Yes.
who plays the lead.
Right.
Rain.
A Rain.
Her performance is getting rave reviews.
Yes.
What's the consensus there?
Rain is described as this incredibly capable and resourceful character
Okay.
who carries the weight of the film
Right.
with, as one reviewer put it, silent strength, subtlety, and intensity.
Wow.
Imagine Ripley,
Right.
but maybe with even fewer words
Oh.
and a touch more grit.
That is high praise.
Yeah.
Especially considering how iconic Sigourney Weaver's Ripley is.
Right.
But what about the other characters? Are they fleshed out?
That's a great question.
Or is it all Rain all the time?
And unfortunately, the reviews are a bit more ambiguous when it comes to the supporting cast.
Oh, okay.
Some praised the ensemble,
Right.
but others felt certain characters lacked depth.
Interesting.
So it seems like your mileage might vary depending on who you connect with.
That's fair.
Yeah,
It's tough to balance a strong lead with a compelling supporting cast.
it is.
But let's address the Xenomorph in the room,
Okay.
shall we?
Do it.
One review hinted that Romulus might reveal too much about the creature.
Okay.
You know me, I love a good mystery.
Right.
So I'm a little wary of that.
It is a valid concern, right?
Yeah.
The Xenomorph thrives on that sense of the unknown,
Right.
the fear of what we don't understand.
Exactly.
However, other reviewers suggest that instead of stripping away the mystery,
Yeah.
Romulus might be offering a new perspective on the creature.
Okay.
Perhaps it's not about revealing too much,
Right.
but rather about adding layers to its existence.
Showing us something we haven't seen before.
Okay, I'm willing to keep an open mind,
Sure.
especially if it means a fresh take on a classic monster.
Right.
But speaking of things that are both familiar and new,
Yeah.
it sounds like Romulus incorporates elements from all the previous Alien films.
It does.
Is this a case of too much fan service?
That's the million-dollar question.
Or is it more nuanced than that?
For some, it'll feel like a love letter to the franchise,
Right.
packed with Easter eggs and callbacks.
Sure.
For others, it might come across as a rehash,
Okay.
relying too heavily on past successes instead of forging its own path.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that age-old debate.
Yeah.
Is it homage or is it just unoriginal?
Right.
I guess it depends on how it's woven into the narrative, right?
Yeah.
Like, is it just a bunch of winks and nods to the fans?
Right.
Or does it actually serve the story?
Right. I'm all for a good Easter egg hunt,
Yeah.
but not if it overshadows what Romulus is trying to do on its own.
Right.
speaking of overshadowing.
One thing in the outline really caught my eye,
Okay.
and it involves screen time.
What's that?
The Facehugger apparently gets more of it than the Xenomorph itself.
Really?
What's the deal with that?
That is a bold choice, isn't it? It suggests the filmmakers might be leaning into a different kind of fear.
Okay.
See, the Facehugger embodies that primal terror of invasion.
Yeah.
Something violating your body and mind.
Yeah.
It's deeply unsettling on a psychological level.
Right.
Even more so than the Xenomorph's raw physical threat.
You know, that reminds me of that movie Don't Breathe.
Okay.
It wasn't even a monster movie.
Right.
But the tension was off the charts.
Yeah.
Because you knew something awful was going to happen. You just didn't know. When is
Yeah.
Romulus going for that same vibe, do you think?
It's possible.
Okay.
Several reviewers mentioned the film's incredibly effective use of sound design.
Okay.
They used words like visceral and unrelenting,
Yeah.
which makes me think they're amplifying that sense of dread you're talking about.
Right.
Imagine those iconic facehugger noises,
Yeah.
but cranked up to 11
Oh, wow.
and echoing through your speakers.
Right.
It's about making you feel the horror as much as see it.
Okay, now I'm starting to understand why they'd give the Facehugger more screen time.
Yeah.
It's not just about the creature itself.
Right.
It's about what it represents.
Exactly.
That violation, that loss of control. It's interesting how something so small can be so terrifying.
It is.
Now let's talk about the elephant,
Okay.
or rather the hybrid in the room.
Okay.
The outline mentions a pretty intense third act
Yeah.
featuring a human xenomorph engineer hybrid.
Okay.
Without spoiling anything, what can you tell us about that?
All right. Buckle up.
Okay.
Because this is where Romulus seems to get really interesting.
Oh, okay.
Reviewers were pretty tight-lipped on specifics,
Okay.
but the consensus seems to be that this third act is
Yeah.
divisive, to say the least. Okay. Imagine a creature that blends the biomechanical horror of the xenomorph
Right.
with the advanced technology and disturbing biology of the engineers.
Oh,
All wrapped up in a very unsettling package.
okay. You definitely have my attention.
Good.
It sounds like Romulus might be channeling some of the cosmic horror vibes of Prometheus,
Yeah.
which, let's be honest, people either loved or hated,
Right.
given your expertise.
Sure.
Where do you think Romulus falls on that spectrum?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
It sounds like Romulus walks a fine line.
Okay.
It borrows elements from Prometheus, this
Right.
exploration of ancient beings and unsettling creations,
Yeah.
but grounds it in the more immediate, visceral horror that the original Alien is known for.
Right.
It's like they're taking those big existential questions about creation and existence and injecting them into a classic monster movie framework.
That's a really interesting way to put it.
Yeah.
So it's not just about the scare factor.
Yeah.
It's about making you think,
Exactly.
making you question what you think you know about the alien universe.
Exactly. And that brings us back to the question of where the franchise goes from here.
Okay.
Several reviews speculated about the possibility of Alien, Romulus kicking off a new wave of alien stories, maybe even connecting to other sci-fi properties.
Whoa, hold on. Connect to other properties.
Yeah.
Are we talking about a shared universe here?
Right.
Tell me more.
It's all speculation at this point,
Yeah.
but one review explicitly mentioned a potential link to the Blade Runner universe.
Wow. Right.
Given that both franchises deal with artificial life,
Right.
corporate greed, and the murky ethics of it all.
Right.
Thematically, it kind of makes sense.
My mind is blown.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the possibility?
I know, right?
Okay, before we go too far down that rabbit hole,
Oh, okay.
let's reel it back to Romulus.
Okay.
One detail I found intriguing was the mention of a comic book release
Yes.
set to follow the film.
Right.
What's the scoop on that?
Ah, yes. The comic is slated for an October release,
Okay.
and while details are scarce,
Right.
speculation is running wild.
Of course.
Some believe it'll delve into Rain's backstory,
Okay.
giving us a deeper glimpse into her character beyond what we see on screen.
Right.
Others speculate that it might explore the events leading up to Romulus,
Okay.
perhaps shedding more light on this human xenomorph engineer hybrid.
Ooh, both of those sound amazing.
You're right.
But what I'm really hoping for is that the comic picks up where the film leaves off.
Right.
Imagine a cliffhanger ending that leaves you breathless,
Uh-huh.
and then boom, the comic drops.
Yeah.
Ready to answer all your burning questions.
Right. It's like that feeling of needing more,
Yeah.
of needing to know what happens next.
Right.
But with a whole new medium to explore it in.
And who knows,
Yep.
if the comic is successful,
Yeah.
it could even pave the way for a sequel.
Right.
Or maybe even a spin-off series.
Exactly.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. We've talked a lot about the big picture.
Right.
The critical reception.
Uh-huh.
The potential for a shared universe.
Yeah.
The upcoming comic.
Right.
But let's zoom in on the details for a bit.
Okay.
What specifically jumped out at you from the source material?
You know, for me, it was the emphasis on practical effects.
Okay.
One review mentioned they brought in folks from the original Aliens team,
Wow.
which is incredible.
Right.
They prioritized physical sets, creatures, miniatures,
Yeah.
you know, that old school filmmaking magic.
Yeah.
They even built a fully functional,
Wow.
life-size facehugger for certain scenes.
No way.
Yes,
Now that is dedication to the craft.
it is.
It's no wonder the visuals are getting so much praise if they focused on that level of detail.
Precisely. It's like they went above and beyond to make sure the horror felt real, tangible.
Right.
In a world dominated by CGI, that choice speaks volumes about their commitment to capturing the spirit of the original films.
It's like you can practically smell the grime and feel the cold metal under your fingertips.
Yeah.
It's about creating an experience,
Yes.
not just flashing images on a screen.
Exactly. And that brings us back to you.
Okay.
You've given us all this info about Romulus.
Right.
And it's clear you're looking for more than just a surface level review.
Right.
So let's cut to the chase.
Okay.
What's the takeaway here?
Right. At the end of the day, you're the one deciding whether to buy that ticket or boot up that streaming service.
Exactly. So here's the bottom line.
Okay.
If you're looking for a mindless action flick with wall-to-wall xenomorph carnage,
Right.
Romulus might not be for you.
Okay.
But if you're looking for something that pays homage to the franchise's roots,
Right.
while pushing the boundaries of what an alien film can be,
Yeah.
then this is definitely one to watch.
It sounds like Romulus is an experience.
It is.
It's a slow burn, it's atmospheric,
Mhm.
and it's definitely going to leave you thinking about it long after the credits roll.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And don't forget about that comic book release in October.
Oh, right.
Whether it dives deeper into the story, expands on the characters, or takes us in a whole new direction,
Right.
it proves that there's a lot more to explore in the alien Romulus world.
It's almost like this film is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
And I, for one, am ready to see what lurks beneath the surface.
Me too.
All right, so you've heard what we think.
Yes.
Now it's your turn to experience Alien, Romulus.
Go check it out.
Dive into those reviews, grab your tickets,
Yes.
and let us know if this new chapter lives up to the Alien legacy.
Let us know what you think.
Until next time.